back. What's up, everybody? Benja, Welldone, coming at you live on this beautiful Corona-free day. It's 5:29 in the morning, Friday, June the 19th. How are you doing? You know what? I keep saying it. I love the fact that that Texas is primarily open with this whole Corona crap and everything that's going on. But personally, I still feel like my life is in a holding pattern, kind of like I was an airplane up in the sky and the pilot, and there's too much traffic below. I feel like I'm being held up from doing a lot of my personal accomplishments. It's just really, really tough for me because I'm very, very productive and proactive. By the way, side note, you may see I'm wearing a gi. I'm on my way to jiu-jitsu 6 in the morning, but whatever. Anyway, and the reason I say that is because I have all this new comedy material that I really want to work on, which is my passion. It's my life. It's who I am. But until things start to reopen on the more social side, it's kind of hard to build off of new material. Okay, kind of like the house, like a house. If it was like a foundation of a house, I have this new 10 minutes that I've been working on, and I want to build off of those 10 minutes onto the next 10. But it's kind of hard to do that without actually having a stage and you know I was going out to public places and doing it, and that's great. It's phenomenal. But right now, still because of Corona and now protests and everything else, it's kind of challenging to go up to a random bus stop the way that I was before and just tell jokes for 10 minutes or 11 minutes or 15 or whatever the case was. So, but yeah, what I'm getting at is kind of like as far as a house goes, you wouldn't want to build a second floor to a house without knowing that first floor foundation is solid, concrete, well built, framed, and all that stuff. And I feel like that way as far as comedy goes because part of my daily routine, my schedule was to scout out, find new opportunities, search and destroy, really set myself up for a schedule. But everything out of state and the majority of stuff in state is still very slow to no opening right now on the social aspect of stuff. So how am I supposed to realistically build off of a 10-minute set, work on my next 11 minutes, 11 through 20, without having that 10 vetted? You see what I'm saying? Like, I really want to take it to the improv. I want to take it to higher places. But right now, things are just so slow, and it's just, it sucks. It sucks a lot. But that's also me being selfish, because I know it's a lot worse for a lot of other places. And I really try to keep my ego in check, because I feel like an ego is one of your best friends and worst enemies. Best friends because an ego is part of what drives you to say that you are better than yourselves, and it gives you that. It's more than just belief, it's fact. For me, it is, at least, that I'm better than somebody, that I'm going to destroy them when I do this, that I'm going to accomplish that, okay? And part of that drive is what takes you over to that next level and makes that happen. Believing in yourself is part of what makes everything happen, okay? But that's that ego. Now, there's also egotistical, narrow, just the bad thinking kind of a thing, when you have that thought, but you don't put the training, you don't put the actions into it, or maybe it's just, if you really believe something, but you don't put the work behind it to have that, like I said, like before, like that solid concrete foundation. Sorry, I just noticed the video's off a little bit. Fix that. But yeah, what I'm saying, it applies to everybody. Ego can be a great thing, and it can be an awful thing. You've really got to stay balanced. If you have too much ego and not enough training behind it, you're lacking in training. It's kind of common sense, right? So, I guarantee you, no one that ever went into a championship fight or whatever the case may be, they go in those fights, ideally that is, if it was like a championship boxing match or something, that they're going to win. You get to a certain level by believing in yourself, just like Michael Jordan, like everybody else. I mean, if you want to compare myself to Michael Jordan, that's fine. I get it. Not a problem. I'm joking with you. But anyway, but seriously, but yeah, I got off a little bit on that whole point because I called myself out. Because I'm looking at my circumstances and whatnot, being selfish, and not really even considering how much worse it is for everybody else. And I try to do that. I try to stay humble. Because that's part of what keeps me in check and tells me that I need to work harder. I don't make excuses for when something doesn't happen right. I work harder and I get results by making shit happen. The one thing that is out of my realm of possibility to a degree, and I say that very carefully because I'm always very particular with my words, is getting an opportunity. But it's okay because I have an answer to that. I'm trying to get opportunities from outside sources to be on comedy shows and do stuff like that. But right now, open mics are still a little too non-existent. And I'm not even talking about an open mic. I mean like an actual show, like a showcase at a professional venue, at an improv or something like that. I think some out-of-state joints are still asking the comedians to wear face masks. And I'm not doing comedy with a face mask. You're going to mess up. I mean, I don't want people saying what. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's not being picky. But if I have a microphone, you got to hear what I'm saying and it's getting muffled up by a face mask. It's already tough to hear people alone with a face mask. And then you're going to add a microphone. It'll just sound like loud jumble stuff. You know? But when an opportunity isn't given to me, I create opportunities. So I will make a showcase. If I'm not given one, I make one. And that's what I really got to move on to now. But the thing is, with all these existential factors having nothing to do with me, there are always existential. There's always additional outside factors that have nothing to do with you when you're trying to accomplish a goal. That's normal. But these are on top of those. And the fact that I'm trying to work on comedy while you're supposed to be still social distancing, it's kind of a tough thing. And to be honest with you, I feel that like a lot of people, especially with all the protests and riots and everything, if anything, they need a laugh, but they just don't want to hear it. They're just not in the mood. You know, every day when you turn on the damn news, you hear about it being the end of the world tomorrow, and they're fear-mongering. You know, I said it before and I'll say it again. If there's a newspaper, old school, actual physical newspaper, okay, and it's some guy is selling it at some tabloid place in New York, and he's waving a newspaper. If it says great day tomorrow, nobody's going to pay attention to it. Everybody's going to walk by. But if it says the end is near, everyone's buying a copy. And that's exactly what they do with the news nowadays. They fearmonger, and you'll notice when their ratings are up, because every news organization will cut to commercial more times because they get paid more based off of advertisements. So, you know, I spent maybe like 5 minutes or so switching back between like CNN and Fox News, and one was basically saying how literally in the headlines of CNN it made a comment about president, liar, China. So pretty much you just see that, you'd be like, oh, the president is actually he's a liar, and he's doing something. He got China to, you know, he asked China's help for re-election or whatever the case. And then I turn it to Fox, and they're talking about a completely different story. It's so crazy, regardless of what's true and what's not, that no matter what news organization's going on, the top news story has two different completely angles on it. And I don't just mean like two different points of view. I mean like opposing directions. How are you supposed to trust anybody? How are you supposed to trust your country, your news, or even the general discussions you would have with somebody when you're being told two different things? That's like if two different people told you a story about a horrible event that happened, or an event that happened, and one person said it was an absolutely horrible event, and then somebody else told you, and it was the exact event all over again, but it had a positive spin to it. You're like, okay, so what's going on here? It's so crazy. I'm trying to get everything that I can get done. I'm trying to do the best that I can, and as a comedian and whatnot. The ironic part is a lot of my new material, it has nothing to do with any of this Corona stuff or the protests or anything else. And I think I can almost guarantee you that will be the number one thing that most people will try to hone in on. Everyone's going to try to get 60 seconds of justice and talk about Black Lives Matter, or they're going to talk, all of a sudden they're going to act like they're a doctor talking about Corona. Look, part of what's going to make my comedy great, and that's not me being egotistical, that's me being honest and realistic, is that it's universal, and it's not going, I'm trying to have what I say be timeless. And what I mean by that is, I'm not going to have it necessarily talking about one period, one topic, one era that's kind of fleeting by. Or I guarantee you that there's somewhere in CNN headquarters that actually has like a new infectious virus department, because the second this thing starts to slow down and the ratings start to drop again, they're gonna just keep on those fires going, just like with these damn protests, just like with the Corona. Things are finally starting to reopen. And one more thing is, yesterday on CNN, the headline, it said a coronavirus update. It was an hour segment just having to do about new updates and developments. And it was just all just destruction, terror, all sorts of bad shit. But my stuff isn't going to have anything to do with that. My stuff is basically going to be timeless from now on, because I'm not going to stick to certain references that are captured based off of one period. My new stuff is all universal now. It's smart, it's intelligent, it's thought-provoking, it's intriguing. I drop knowledge, you learn stuff, and it's going to incorporate a way for people to laugh, to think, and to want to spread that information with these crazy facts that I'm dropping and stuff to other people, which will be my best reference and word of mouth for other people to want to come watch my shows. I've done a lot of work to try to spread my name and who I am and whatnot doing comedy, and I have these cool promo cards and stuff, my info on it. But the next step is getting people to speak for me, which is what I'm working on now. And I really found my voice during this whole Corona period, to find out stylistically the best way for me, the hands down, even out of a crowd of people, of other comedians, how to drown out the noise of their stories, propel mine, okay, make everybody want more, and it also speaks volumes of who I am and my opinion. So when I get off stage, they know a little bit about my personality and my beliefs and my point of view on things and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to do this. Not better version of me, but the truest core version of me, who I really am, and stylistically and everything else. So I'm gonna have so much fun with it. I did so much internal searching during this whole Corona period, and part of that, as far as jiu-jitsu goes, in a similar way to comedy, because they really do hand in hand work great with each other. Jiu-jitsu really brings out the best in problem solving when it has to do with whatever your personal passion is in life. So in the great way, one helps out the other and vice versa. In the way that my comedy changed for the better, so did my jiu-jitsu, exponentially. And the key is basically doing less movements, less words, that have more impact and actions to make me successful, not just as a comedian, but doing jiu-jitsu as well. Just like chess. talk about chess a lot. Not a lot, maybe periodically, because chess is so great. Because in the exact way that I could impress someone with a big, long dialogue of conversation, or just like you could impress someone by winning a masterful chess match by many moves, okay? To me, it's even more impressive, and basically to get that exact point across with fewer words. There's something really beautiful and elegant when you can actually say something or do something or win a chess match in the least amount of moves as possible. And that's what my comedy and jiu-jitsu now is possible. The least words, least amount of words with the most amount of impact, and the least amount of movements with the most amount of actions. And I'm excited. So anyway, guys, about to start rolling. I'm Benja Welldone. Y'all have a beautiful day. Check me out. Peace.